Hi class, this is Ian. We're going over Chapter 4, Sports for Children, our organized programs worth the effort. So before we get too far into chapter content, we're going to talk about a little bit of a history coming into it. So the post-war baby boom was for young families, young couples who wanted to live their lives after the war was over. So in the 1950s and the 1960s, fathers became coaches, managers, and league administrators, and mothers would take the role of doing laundry, becoming chauffeurs, and making sure that their kids had food before they went off to practice. Now, coming around the 1980s, there were more things going on in the world, such as children being kidnapped and murders, and the media pushed that out and said, hey, do you know where your child is? Do you know what they're doing? And with two parents now working out of the home versus where it used to be one would be at home and one would be at work, they didn't have the opportunity to watch their kids all day. So after school activities and sports became a good option for them. And the reason why they were so appealing to them and were becoming so popular is because, first of all, they have adult leadership and they have adult supervision. So the book goes and gives an extreme example saying a lot of parents feared something that could occur, such as what happened in the book for Lord of the Flies, which you could say is a little extreme, but at the same time, depending on your environment, the parent's mindset, you'd rather have, or they would rather have an adult there to supervise what is going on with their child, which I fully understand. Another thing why they like the idea of organized sports and after-school activities is because kids would watch their favorite sports and say, wow, I'd like to do that. So sports became very appealing to children. With that, now, the only bad thing is with all this, it kind of takes away from play overall, and this is more what we're going to talk about today, and how the culture, and this is from the book, culture of childhood play has nearly disappeared, and there's been an overall loss in creativity and less chance for play because everything is controlled by adults. So later on page 93, he goes to talk about in the 1950s and 60s when the author was growing up, he would spend at least 15 hours outside a day playing, doing pickup games, doing activities he liked and enjoyed with his friends. And he played all sorts of sports all the way up through high school. And then when he played in college, he was a scholarship basketball player, so they asked him to step away from a lot of those activities. However, he still enjoyed them, so he would still find ways to go out and do the things that he enjoyed. And he talks about how 2 generations later, with his granddaughter, who's 17 years old, she was asked at ages 7 and 9 to step away from sports that she had really enjoyed and to make a commitment to something that, she doesn't even know she'll enjoy in another couple of years. So the big thing that we're covering in this is that, and the author says it too, is that, hey, that's wrong to ask a child to do who's 7 or 9. At that point, they don't know what they enjoy to do, or they don't know what they commit to is something that they're going to enjoy later on in life. So really, we as professionals going into this field need to look at this and say, hey, until they choose to further pursue something with more structure, we need to allow them to play, to experiment, and do what they like to do until they say, all right, I either want to continue with this, or all right, maybe I'll step away from this. And versus pushing them saying, hey, you're good at this, you should do this, and have it be structured, we should say, hey, if you're ready to do this, this can be the next thing you go into, so that we're not pushing them away from what they like to do. I know me personally, I had plenty of friends in high school and college who would step away from a sport, and I'd say, hey, what's up? What's going on? Why'd you step away from this sport? And they'd say, well, I'm not enjoying it anymore. And one of the big things is that you take away someone's enjoyment of the sport, you take away their passion too, and it's not going to be something that they further enjoy to do. So we need to get back, in the future, we need to get back to letting kids do what they enjoy earlier on so they can figure out on their own, hey, I like doing this, I'm going to stick with this. Because later on, that's what's going to drive their passion in the sport, is how much fun they had as a child versus being pushed into an organized program. And then on page 95, they have a study from Benjamin Bloom, who is a noted educational psychologist from the University of Chicago, where he studied 120 individuals who were incredibly talented in things such as playing piano, sculpting, Olympic swimming, along with several other areas, and talks about how all those began with an interest in those activities and them having fun in those activities before it stepped forward into something that was more structured. So we as a society now need to move towards, hey, let them do what they enjoy doing. Let them find their hobbies. Let them choose what they like to do versus putting them in something structured and taking away from the other things they enjoy. Thank you very much.